Hey everyone, welcome back to another market overview with my good friend Steve Payne from Legend. Got it right there,
Welcome.
John.
Yeah.
So today's show that you're watching is part of the Madison County area. We're going to talk about Madison County. We're going to talk about Limestone and Morgan County. Mm-hmm. And this is all just about market overview. Where were we? Where are we? So that you guys can stay safe in what you're doing in the market. And one of the things I noticed right away when we sat down, Steve, with your sheet. Oh, and by the way, we'll add this as an attachment under the video. Was that the inventory was more than what it had been.
Starting to climb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was something that raised some interest for me that I do want to talk about with you. So guys, before we dig into this, I just want to take a quick moment to welcome our sponsors. So watch this quick video.
Hey guys, Tim Knox with Revolved Realty here. You know, our local real estate market is on fire, which means there's never been a better time to sell your home. Revolved Realty is a flat listing fee company, which means we can save you thousands when you list and sell your home with us. In fact, our average clients save over $3,000 in commissions and fees. To find out how much I can save you, give me a call today, 679-0704, or find me on the web at revolved.com.
Okay, we're back. So, Steve, let's just jump right into some numbers here, man.
Okay.
So, if we look at Madison County, oh, my fan's blowing. If we look at Madison County, one of the things that pops up for me is that we look at November, we were 3.1 of months of inventory, and in October, we were still around 3. So, it seems to me, though, that when we look at these numbers, especially in Madison County, those were down in like 2.4, 2.5. Yeah. Right. So meaning that it was much harder to find deals because there just wasn't enough inventory. Right. And we talked about this in one of our shows where we had said, you know, the inventory is something we need to keep our eye on because if it keeps climbing, prices are going to start dropping.
Yeah. Yes. And that's totally true. I think it's got a lot more to climb before prices actually start dropping because we're still well below 6 months. We're still below 3 months, 3.1 months.
Yeah.
6 months is that borderline between a buyer's market and a seller's market.
6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So when we start hitting like 5 months, 5.5,
it's a trend.
Yeah, it'll climb up. We need to start really thinking about, hey, we're not going to get what we think we're going to get when we list a property for sale.
I'm more inclined to be prepared.
Be prepared.
Because still at 5 months, it's still the seller's market.
Yeah.
But, at 6 months, it's starting to swing.
To get oversaturated.
Right.
Kind of like when we get into Limestone, we were talking about that. They're already at 4 months, and that's been a climb. And that could be a process of overbuilding. But let's go back into the data. So September to October, our units sold really were almost the same. I mean, we had 636 units sold in September, 656 units sold in October. A little bit more, but not like anything incredible. But 1 year ago from October, we're up. We're up from sales from 576 to 656.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, well, if we look at our 1 year data, we're selling more.
We actually sold more houses. And September is an incredibly slow month.
Is it really?
It normally is for me.
But, I remember last year we were sitting talking like this, and usually in November after Thanksgiving and December, it slows down. But you were busy in real estate, and I was busy in real estate.
I was swamped in December.
Right. It was an odd month because all my Decembers prior to that, it's kind of like nothing was going on.
My last 2 Decembers have been terrible. I mean, as far as busy.
Right.
But
so do you think that's October? You think we'll keep following that trend through September? The units of solds will keep going up?
I do. There was another video I meant to print out for you. And I talked about it recently. I went to the NowCon meeting. And they pointed out that there's 13,000 new jobs coming into Huntsville in 2022. And there was all the growth, all the new companies, and all the new hiring that all these companies are going to be doing.
Right.
I don't see an end to this. This is just kind of a road bump.
Right. A
Maybe.
road bump. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because volume, I mean, we're doing better in volume than we did a year ago from October's data.
I said 22,000, didn't I?
2020.
13,000 in
13,000 in 2020.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. I mean, you look at that. If we look at October on this sheet, that's a 23% growth from year over year.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible when we consider and when we take a and look. I know we're kind of isolated.
That's volume. Yeah.
By volume, right?
Yeah.
And I know we're kind of isolated in our market. Our officials have done amazing jobs of bringing companies in and getting employment.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. But I mean, look, I'm also out there interviewing people on a national level, and they're not seeing what we're seeing.
No.
At all. I mean, there's markets where, I'm on the phone with guys talking about their market. They were doing 100 deals a year. Now they're saying, man, I'm lucky to do 30. Like they're already filling a dump.
Right.
And I tell them about our market, and maybe I shouldn't be. But they're like, oh, that's incredible. I wish that was going on in my area. And so, are there some changes already happening in the real estate space? Yes. Are we seeing it? No.
Not really. No.
I don't think so neither. But I like what you said. Like you don't see an end to this anytime soon.
In Huntsville.
In Huntsville, right? Madison County, right?
Or Limestone, probably.
You think Limestone? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute because they actually dropped from a year to a year from October.
They did.
So we'll move over to average sales. So average sales are still climbing, and we got 149 in October. In September it was 144. So. For me, I look at two major indicators to determine if the market's taking a dump. One is the inventory count increasing, and two, are sales price going down.
Oh, that'd be a definite indication.
Yeah, like if I start seeing, okay, well, last month we were 149 or 249, and this month we're 240, and the inventory's going up to 4.5, 5.25 of months of inventory, like we got a problem. Like we got something we got to be worried about. Either we need to start dropping prices and get our inventory sold, or when we do buy, we just need to take in consideration that decrease in value versus a longer hold time. Right? I mean, because here's the other side. I mean, you've been through it. I've been through it. The market turns, people run, and they take their money and they go hide for a while, right?
Right.
Typically about a 10-year cycle, they hide, and then they come back out. But even in a down market, I mean, Steve, you were flipping and I was flipping in a down market.
It was my happiest time.
Yeah, well, that because of no competition, but we just have to understand, like, if it's worth $250 today, in 6 months when it sells, it might only be worth $235.
Oh, exactly.
And we have to calculate that in. So for people watching this, it's not that if the market turns, they should turn and run scared. It's just they've got to be more prepared.
And think ahead. Yeah, definitely. Because, like 4 years ago, they were selling for $185.
I know.
And now they're $250.
Yeah, I know.
But we don't know what it's going to go to once it becomes a buyer's market again.
I mean, how far up do you think the Madison County area's median price will go?
Good question.
I mean, what's our sustainability, right? That's
right.
really, or if you look at it from like some of the sites like economics.com and other sites, they refer to it, or MGIC is another good one, Mortgage Guaranteed Insurance Corporation. They refer to it as an affordability index versus a risk factor. Like as prices start to go to a certain price point based on the medium income level, they start to vary it as, is it now an affordability? But if you look at like MSN and all the financial magazines and blog sites that talk about Huntsville, they still report us in like the top 10 most affordable.
Right.
So
actually, I saw Newsweek, I think, had us at number 1.
As most affordable? So that's where I get so like sideswiped here, because it's like we're not used to these prices.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
We're used to under 200.
It's like, wait a minute.
It's like, how
Really?
far can it go? But then the nation is saying, hey, look, you guys are one of the most affordable cities in the whole U.S. right now.
Yeah.
And then you take in all the jobs. So, the side of me leans in on what you say. And it's like, hey, I don't see this changing for a while.
But you're bringing up price.
Yeah.
And I think, in my personal opinion, that limestone is slowing down because of price. Because see, if you look at the average price, it's slightly higher than.
Yeah, but here's a little bit,
Madison
and
County.
I'm with you because, like in September, limestone's average sales price was $247,000.
Exactly.
October it was $242,000. So it's dropping right now.
Oh yeah, it did actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So
It
September
actually-
was
well,
a good month, but
did it-
October it didn't sell at the same
Did it
price.
drop because it had reached a peak?
So that's exactly my point that I'm trying to. And I don't have the answer. Let's ask the Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah, there you go.
Our price is going to drop. My sources say no.
Well, I don't
I
think
just said I haven't been able to ask the Magic 8 Ball anything lately. But to the point, Madison County average sales price is going up. Morgan County average sales price is going down. Limestone County average sales price is going down. Because limestone went from 147 in September to 142 in October. Morgan County went from 191 in September to 178 in October.
right.
So, are they
But-
filling that because they tried to grow too quickly, or they have too many new builds?
That's still 16 to 18%.
Over from
you
a
can't
year.
see the
Right.
statistics.
Well, they'll be able to print it out and,
Right.
and read it while we
Right.
talk. Yeah, you're talking from 1 year to 1 year, and I'm referring from 1 month to 1 month.
I'm still thinking October to September. Being a poor month, and
Yeah.
October is generally about the same as September.
You know what would be really good is to get I don't know if you could put it together, but to get a chart that's like January to December, sales prices.
All we'd have to do is put these together.
Into a sheet, right? We could
Right.
take 18s and 19s and have them next to each other and see what the cycle looks
Exactly,
like.
yeah.
And so when you're looking at this data and you got a guy like me that says, oh, but limestone's dropped, but we could go, well, it's dropped every year at this time.
Exactly.
Right. Which would be a good way to kind of eliminate that risk or fear of just looking at this data.
And to predict it.
Yeah, a little bit more predictable too. Yeah. So back to Madison County, though. I like that we have the quantity active, which is what is available on the market. Is that correct, Steve?
That is.
Okay, so units available. We're hovering right around the same from September to October.
Yeah.
We have less inventory
We do.
available this year than we did a year ago. So those are
Exactly.
good numbers.
Those are good numbers.
Yeah,
exactly.
that negative there is actually good.
Well, we were 4 months last year. Remember?
Yes,
The
I do
inventory is
remember.
down. It's not as down as it was back in July,
Correct.
but it's
Correct.
down from a year ago.
Yeah, and that was, and that's like that little peak of like everybody trying to get into school zones. Mm-hmm. Okay, we got the summer to find a house. Let's get into that school zone. I'm doing the same thing right now. Look, I'm looking for land to buy to build a house on, and first thing I did is searched Discovery Bob Jones High School District, middle school, high school. That's the first thing I searched for. It was like, okay, there's no land. I was like, all right, well, I'm shooting in the wind on this one. But there is some. We just got to dig it up. I sent you the one that was available. So, but I was shocked. I called the banks about land development loans, and man, those are some good loans they got out right now.
I know.
For new
yeah.
construction.
Right.
I was shocked, like
Yeah.
85%.
Oh, yeah.
They'll come
Oh, yeah.
and they'll like give you 85% of the land, and then once you get your builder in place, they'll give you 85% of that, and they'll give you 100% of cost. I was shocked.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
I was like, whoa! Like this, if you're going to build a house, this is
all
the
over
time
it.
to build it.
Well, yeah,
So,
or commercial building.
or commercial, right? All right. So back to Madison County. So our conclusion on Madison County's data is yes, our sales prices are going up. Our year over year is incredible. 23% in volume sold, 8% year over year in average sales price. 10% year over year from medium sales, and we have less inventory today than we did a year ago.
Right.
Did I read all that correct, Steve?
That's totally correct.
And we're hovering at 3 months of inventory as of October.
Right.
So your conclusion on Madison County investing is?
I still expect a peak on price. I'm still expecting that, so that the price actually stops climbing, but it still hasn't happened. The market's great, and that's my conclusion on these numbers.
And so, what is your feeling on the on finding deals in Madison County?
You're joking, right? Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's just go find a lot of deals that aren't there.
Okay, that was a good one, Steve. I was actually being for real. I mean, because you're out there, you're active. And we were just talking, like you were like, look, I got to change my game right now because I'm not finding anything. So for the person watching this that may not be out there looking yet, the reality that they're just going to go call an agent and find deals is not the big reality, right? Mm-mm. It's not. Like if they're going to use an agent, they might get what, 1 or 2, maybe 3 deals a year if they're lucky, right? So they really need to be digging.
That's actually, they'd be more than lucky because that's very rare to find a deal on the MLS
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in negotiations on one right now that was on the MLS. Scott, I was driving around and saw it, and I sent it to Scott, and Scott called him up, and it is a bank-owned property, and it was so funny. So we were like, look, we're not going to pay more than $110 for this thing.
Wow, in foreclosure.
Is in foreclosure, yeah. They wanted more than that, but that's what we were going to pay. So they sent us back and said, final and best.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so we said, okay, $111,000.
Right.
So then so we thought, okay, they didn't take it, we're out. That's typically how that works, right? They don't even call you and tell you if you didn't make it. If you don't hear, you don't have it, right?
That's right.
Well, about 4 days went by, and then they reached back out to Scott and said, hey, we'll sell it to you for $140. And I said, you know what that tells me, don't you? That we were the highest. Right?
Yeah.
That we were the highest. Nobody else was willing to pay that. Or why would they call us back and try to get us to go to all the way to 140 again, right? I told Scott, I said, we were the highest one. Guarantee you. So
telling all your trade secrets here. I just love this.
Just talking.
Yeah. I love it. This is a very valuable video here.
But the point is like, if they're there. I mean, I drove by that one. There wasn't even a sign in the yard. I just looked it up and sent it to Scott, and Scott said then he went online and found it and saw it was online with an agent.
Really?
But they didn't have a sign in the yard. But it was listed. There was no sign in the yard.
Some people do that.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
Well, some of the investors say, I'm going to get this one and take that sign and stick it in the backyard.
Oh, jeez.
Don't want anybody to see it.
Oh, jeez. I didn't even think about that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not right.
I didn't even think about that.
Okay.
So Madison County, we're looking good. And here's the thing. It's so weird because like you could look at all this data and be like, we're a great market. You could put a house on the market and sell it in 2 days. You can put another house on the market and it could sit for 3 months. It's just, I don't know how you explain that because you could be in the right school zone, in the right neighborhood, do the right improvements, and sometimes it just still sits.
I got one right now.
Yeah. So I know I was just complaining I got one sitting, and then I pulled it up, and it's only been on the market 14 days. To me, that feels like it's been sitting.
Well, that is rare these days.
I know, especially in like South Huntsville, right? Like the one we have in Priceville, I figured that was going to sit. It's just not. It's not it's just not as many buyers buying out there. So, all right, hey, let's dig into Limestone County. For all of our Limestone investors, here you guys go. So in limestone, number of units sold from September was 151, moving into October 137. That goes back to your rule of thumb that October is a little bit of a slow month. We didn't see that in Madison County, but obviously Limestone and Morgan County are seeing that. Well, Morgan County didn't, but Limestone did. From 151 to 137. And actually, those 2 months, September and October, were a loss compared to 1 year ago.
Yeah, limestone is, like we were just talking about, I'm thinking it's capped out. It's peaked out on prices.
Yeah, because I remember a while back we were talking about how their price had skyrocketed, and we were like, how is that sustainable in limestone?
Yeah, they were like 2.0 inventory, weren't they?
I know.
I was like,
And they were running right in line with Madison
exactly.
with sales price, and I was just like, how is that even sustainable?
Well, the prices are higher. Well, it's almost exactly the same in October.
Well, yeah, you're right. September, it beat Madison. 244 in Madison in September, and Limestone was 247. But October hit, it dropped down to 242. So it dropped, but it did have an increase from year over year.
Right.
Its inventory dropped too. I think that's a big hit for them when you go from 37 million to 33 million. Obviously, that's a direct reflection of all this data,
There is
right?
a slowdown,
Less sales, prices going down, less volume in sales.
Exactly. Yep.
But here, riddle me this, Steve. So if you look at their average sales price, 242, it's less in October than it was in Madison in October, which was 249. But look at their medium sales. Madison's median sale is 225, and Limestone is 225.
I know it.
It's like
Newer houses, I think.
it's the newer inventory, all that new construction out
I
there.
think more and more of the houses selling in limestone are new construction.
Gotcha.
That's the only explanation I can
Because
come up
look
with.
at September in Limestone. The medium sale was 249. In Madison, it was 215.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like,
it's a lot more.
what's the population of Limestone? 50,000?
That's
60?
probably about right.
Hey Siri, what is the population of Limestone County in Alabama?
Okay, I found this on the web. What is the population of Limestone County in Alabama? Check it out.
94,000.
Oh wow, well, it's definitely growing.
Yeah.
And like the Toyota Mazda plant and
Yep.
Polaris and all those other plants they've just recently built.
So knowing what we know in Limestone, I mean, I know it's just month over month, but year over year volume is down. Year over year units of sold are down. Year over year the medium sales price is down. Year over year the units being sold is negative 15%, which is great, which means it's less inventory, but it's sitting on 4 months of inventory right now.
It is. It went up.
What would you look at Limestone and say you would be doing as an investor right now? Would you still be running in over there looking for flips?
I would. Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate
Yep.
to look for flips in Limestone County, but you're going to have to anticipate the price coming back down.
Yeah, okay.
I
Gotcha.
think it peaked out.
Yeah.
I think that's the inventory is reflecting that, the prices got too high for a short time, and now people are slowing down and say, whoa, wait a minute, that's too much.
It's too much. Yeah, because I mean, I wonder what the average income is for Limestone.
Good question. I don't know. I've never looked that data up.
Because I think the last time I looked, Huntsville was like 67 or 68,000.
Last time I looked, it was more.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, what did you see when you looked?
It was in the 80s, if I'm not
80s.
mistaken.
For
Now,
Madison
wait a
County?
minute, 67. No, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I
that was
saw
it.
like 67 or 68. I
That
think
was
it
exactly right, and I was really kind of surprised by that
Yeah.
because this is still Alabama.
No, well, it's what we have: the military,
Exactly.
what's the Research Valley over there, Research Park. I mean, yeah, because there's some major markets out there that we're equal to, and their home prices are a lot more expensive than ours. And so, I'm just curious about Limestone. I wonder if it falls in like that 30 to 40,000 range, because a lot of the jobs that are out there, Well, I don't know. Some of the people could be working here in Huntsville, but most of them
lot
are
of them.
plant jobs and manufacturing jobs, and some of those peak at around 50.
There's going to be more and more of those, and
Yeah.
you're right. But at the same time, those manufacturing jobs are pretty good paying jobs nowadays.
Yeah, especially living here in Alabama. So,
So they're in the 40s, I think.
yeah, that's what I was saying. I think I
50s?
read something where manufacturing plant type positions, they start to peak at like that 50, and then 60 is like higher level stuff.
Yeah.
But there are some. I know some people that work in some of the plants out there, like nuclear plants, and they're making six figures.
Oh, yeah.
As shift leaders and shift managers.
Engineers.
Yeah.
And the engineers are starting out at 85,000.
I know. Well, that's like I read that all those FBI admin and agents that are coming. I think it's mostly admin that are being moved in, are all like $90,000 to $120,000 jobs. Yeah. So that is like income coming into our market.
Exactly. Raising prices.
All right, Steve. So limestone is still viable, and I agree with you, Steve. I think there again, our job as investors is risk management,
Right.
right? It's not, I'm going to make $20,000 on this house. No, that's the projected. But what could affect me making that $20,000? One, not staying on budget, right? Not managing my contractors.
Right.
Two, what is the market going to do in 3 to 6 months?
Right.
What's my hold time going to look like in 3 to 6 months based on what I can look at data over the last, say, 6 months, and where is the trend going?
And that is incredibly accurate. You got it. That's exactly what you got to do.
Yeah. So for all the people that watch this that don't like to read data, it's not a good thing, right?
No, just watch this.
just like Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Just sit back and watch them all.
Just get on YouTube and save that reading, moving your eyeballs.
Oh, that's funny. All right, let's dig into Morgan County, which my feeling on Morgan County is I think Morgan County could be an amazing area. I've
could.
always said that with the river and everything that goes on over there. But we have difficulties. Look, I'm remodeling 4 apartments over there right now.
Awesome.
And 2 of them I've got finished. 3 of them I've got finished. I'm working on the last one right now. And I'm going to tell you, dealing with the city over there was not my favorite thing to do. It was not.
Yep.
It was
That's
not.
notorious.
I mean, it probably, I had to spend a lot more extra money on some things that I felt were unnecessary. But for them, it was necessary. And so you can't argue with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I had to pull permits on all these buildings. And so therefore, I've got to comply with the city
Right.
to get them ready to rent. But I do feel like that area is on an increase in rental portfolio as well. And here's why.
It is.
Because the buildings I bought, they're 2-1s. The units are 2-1s. They're all 2-1s. And when I first identified them about a year ago, and I was looking in that area, the rents for those 2-1s over there were like $450 to $525, somewhere right in there. And then as we're getting these buildings finished, we're taking them back to management, and they're saying, "Oh no, we're going to be able to get $650 now for them."
Oh, wow. In Morgan County.
In Morgan County.
That's news to me.
So look, I even have one of the buildings has 3 2s in them, have 3-bedroom, 2 baths, and they're getting $750 to $800 for those.
They're older buildings, right?
Yeah, they're not brand new.
Yeah.
I don't buy new buildings.
I'm really shocked. That's great. That's good news.
So and I think that's happening because we have had a lot of investors move into Morgan County and buy rental properties.
True.
Because they were almost like non-existing over here anymore. So people started bouncing, right?
Right.
And so I saw that firsthand just through my buildings, and I thought, well, this is amazing. It changes my investment completely because of the extra cash flow. So that I think is a win.
It is.
Now I will say this: I do know some people that are rehabbing over there.
Right.
And you're actually one of the
That's
ones
right.
that have one. And they've said the same thing to me that you said when we sat down. They're like, yeah, it's not selling as fast as I wanted it to. So it makes me lean back into, is Morgan County more of a home buyer community, or is it more heavy on the rental community? what's that threshold really? Is it like a 50-50 of home buyers? Is it a 60-40? And I'm wondering if that may slow down the purchasing power of individuals inside of Morgan County. Right? Because it's notoriously been go there, rent for cheap. Go there, rent for cheap.
Right.
And now you've got pockets, like you look at where, like, Jill lives out in, Mallard Park Estates over there. Like, that's a great community, right? Beautiful homes, great access to everything. But the majority of it is...
South.
Yeah, it's just not as nice as that area.
Well, yeah, the older sections.
Yeah.
Now, there's
where
a
people
lot
go
of
in and look because they get enticed by the price, right? Oh, man, that's cheap. I get wholesalers that send me stuff all the time. It's like, hey, I got a house for you, 20 grand. I'm like, great, let me look at it. I look at it. I'm like, man, that thing needs to be bulldozed. I'm like, oh, my goodness. I'm like, I'll give you $500 for it. But we look at sales. September, 126. October, 130. Kind of stayed the same. It was an increase year over year.
Yep.
Volume dropped from September to October, but had a 30% increase in October of 18 to October of 19.
Excuse me. Yeah, the volume dropped. It actually.
No, I said the buying increased by 10%
Oh, the buying.
year over
Yes,
year. The
yes.
volume increased by 30%.
It did. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty incredible, man.
It's good. Yeah, and Morgan County just didn't grow for so long,
Yeah.
and they're trying to come out of that non-growth era. Now, people are attracted to Huntsville,
Yeah.
and I think that's why. There's more to do in Huntsville. There's more happening. It's more in. But Decatur is
Look, even when I moved here,
quiet.
When I first moved back home, and I was working with agents to find a house, I'll never forget what one of them said. Huntsville's where everything is, but if you're looking for, affordable living, we go to Decatur or Hazel Green or Hartselle, which
Exactly.
now those prices have skyrocketed, but we're talking 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I just remembered in my mind, like, she had labeled Decatur, Harvest, and Hazel Green as affordable living.
Right.
And I think that's kind of where Decatur was
It
for a lot of
is,
years.
and it's been that way for a long time.
September, its average sales was 191 sales price. October, 178, but it still increased year over year. Mm-hmm. So it's still going up year over year, but, it did go down in October. Medium sales price, there again, increased year over year. Available inventory, though. This is something that is a little, I don't know if it's shocking or if it's just because I look at Limestone. October of Limestone, they had 543 properties available. Then you look at October in Morgan County, they got 490. That's a lot of inventory for Morgan County.
Yeah, there was.
Sitting on the market.
Well, the inventory has been hovering, the 4%, and it has been that way for some time. But
Right.
and there's a lot more houses in Morgan County than there is Limestone County,
There is.
in my opinion. I mean,
Older homes.
Decatur is bumping. It's been bumping 55,000
Yeah.
for 20 years.
And do you think, are you saying existing homes? Because, Limestone is on a massive build right now.
It is.
And I think, that affects some of
And
their inventory.
The numbers indicate that. It's like they're exactly competing with Morgan County now in
Yeah.
numbers,
Right.
quantity.
So what do you think with Morgan County? Is there any new construction that's like really building out? No, I'm not talking
No,
like 20,
not-
30 house subdivisions. I'm talking like, are there any plans in Morgan County for 200, 300, 400 house subdivisions?
I have not sat in on a presentation that reflected that in Morgan County.
Gotcha.
I've never seen that,
Yeah.
although
I've seen some little subdivisions being built out, like 10,
Yeah.
20 houses. I'm just wondering if they're going to lean in on that a little bit because they've got the ability on the outskirts to put some of that in.
well, the scary thing is if you're not growing,
Yeah.
then the only thing you're trying to appeal to is people who are downsizing. Or, if you're not growing, you have a segmented market that you can appeal to. and that's what you have to focus on. And they got to get that growing going again.
Yeah.
Now people love to upgrade their house.
Yeah.
So the flips are strong in Morgan County.
Yeah.
It's hard to find a deal there.
Right.
But if it's not growing, then construction's just not going to be where you want it to be.
Yeah. And you know what? And you make a good point, like, because I was sitting with a couple of, I went by and talked to a few banks last week just to sit down and have a conversation. Not what's your best loan program, but hey, what is going on in the board meetings? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you guys as vice president of these banks, what's being said when you're going into your weekly board meetings, and what's the board saying about the direction of the lending institutions, right? Like, because I think that's kind of an inside look if you can dig up that information. And these banks, the vice presidents that I talked to, they were like, no, we're moving forward. Like, we have no signs of pulling back right now. And they were like, we want commercial, we want new construction, which if they want new construction, I mean, that's one of the most riskiest investments you can be in. It's such speculation, right? It's like the timing has to be right. You don't want to be heavy in the market change.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, you get nailed. So my thing is when a bank is saying we want new construction, I mean, they've got to put some thought into that.
There it is.
It's not a 3-month turn. New construction, subdivisions, and things like that, I mean, you're talking 12, 18, 24 months. Mm-hmm. You're invested into that project.
Sure. Sure.
And they even said something that kind of made me think for a minute, because 2 of them said that they wanted convenience stores. Mm-hmm. They were like,
Isn't that funny?
They were like, we want convenience stores.
Yeah.
I was like, convenience stores?
Well, every one of them I've ever tried to sell was making money.
Yeah.
That's a good investment.
A convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
You got to do a little extra besides gas.
Oh, of course, right? Like, I mean, look, I get it, because we had a new convenience store pop up by my house, and it wasn't just a normal, like, pump gas, get a soda and candy. It was like a grocery store. Mm-hmm. Like, they had the milks and the food, and they had chips and the soda. I mean, they had the fruit and all kinds. I mean, they had everything. And I can tell you, I probably go there more than I do to the grocery store. I know I'm paying more.
Yeah.
But it's literally
convenient.
Right around. It's called
Saves
a convenient.
You the gas and time.
It's called a convenient store.
What's the most important thing we have?
Time.
Time.
Yeah, that's true. And I remember I was saying that the other day. I was like, I go to that store more than any store, because they actually have the main items that we buy over and over again, right? Like grapes and milk and the things that we just know we go through as a house of a family of 3. And I just swoop down there, grab it, and head home.
On the way home.
But that's what they were saying. Yeah, they were saying gas stations, convenience stores. They didn't say specifically gas stations. They said convenience stores. But so Morgan County is it's just another one to keep our eye on, right?
Well, I definitely am strong on Morgan County. And I'm telling you why, is that median sales price, the average sales price are much lower.
It's affordable.
They're much lower than like Madison or Limestone County. It's very affordable. You get a lot more bang for the buck on your house when you're buying a new house or a rehab house, either way.
Yeah, you're talking almost $60,000, $70,000 difference in some cases.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not happening yet, or it might be happening. Right. I mean, I've never seen the inventory indicator below 4 months, but it is now. It's 3.9, 3.8.
Right.
That's the best I've ever seen in Morgan County.
Well, I like it, Steve.
So I'm big on it. I mean, I don't need any competition, but it's not why we're here, is it?
Hey, you look, all we need to do is just lend them all the money and let them go build them and remodel them.
That's a great idea. Let's do that.
That way we're not in competition. We're just letting the money out.
No matter what happens. If they lose money, well, okay. Sorry about that.
I'm going to make money, right? That's the evolution, right? You flip, you make money as an investor, you buy a bunch of rentals, then you take all your money and you start lending it out, so you don't have to worry about competition or marketing or any of that. You let them bring it all to you. So.
It's not as much fun though.
Oh, but it allows you to do other fun things.
Yeah, that's true.
You know? So, all right, Steve. Listen, I appreciate you coming in and doing this with us again, and I think the market's holding strong. I agree with you. I agree. I think it's holding strong, and I think we circle back around and see what November does, because we see what October did. I'm just curious if November is going to be another drop. You know, like history. You know what would be great is if our next one we put that sheet together,
Right.
like units
Month over
sold.
month.
Units sold chart, you know,
Right.
like where's that at, and what does 18 look versus 19, and is it identical?
Right.
I know we have peaks coming into June, July.
We definitely do. Always. I mean, all realtors know that September is slow. October, it's just slow in that period of time. And that's when you're going to take a vacation if you're a realtor. But December used to be slow.
Well, I was about to say, it tricked us last year.
It got me real good last year and the year before. I was just swamped in December and January, which is normally slow.
Yeah.
Usually it really picks up heavy in March.
Yeah, I think in December alone, I ended up doing almost 8 deals in December. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was crazy how that happened.
Yeah.
So. All right, Steve. Well, thanks again. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in and watching our market overview show. Remember to follow us on our Facebook. You can find that on the homepage link, and join our meetup page, which is also on the homepage. You can find a link to that. Come join us at one of our meetings, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, Steve.
My pleasure. Thank you.